You guys are hearing that the 14th Amendment is valid. You guys are hearing it all the time. That people are going around saying, "Oh, the 14th Amendment isn't valid. Look, there's the Annals of Congress in this particular document." You guys, what you got to understand is that any time that history is always written by those who are in control, right? And if a tyrant is in control, then you got to understand that the tyrant is going to change history, and that's what they're trying to do to us right now, right? They're trying to create a diversion. I could go out and I could create a document that says that, oh yeah, the 14th Amendment was never properly ratified. But the question I have for you is, in 2019, was anybody saying that the 14th Amendment was not ratified fully? No, because even the Supreme Court of the United States was acting under the belief that the 14th Amendment was 100% valid in Timms versus Indiana, Duncan versus Louisiana, all these cases. Everyone was talking about how valid the 14th Amendment is, and now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, the 14th Amendment was never ratified, it's not valid. Guys, that's a diversion. That's a diversion, because they recognize the fact that that's what we're relying upon to be able to move forward to win this case, okay? So they're rewriting history. They're creating a diversion in front of you. Now, what I have this memory that's somewhat unique. It's called a didactic memory, okay? It's not photographic because I can't just look at things and remember it photographically. I have a didactic memory, which means that when I write something, I can never forget it. Never, ever, ever forget it. When I write something, it is instant and it's imprinted in my mind. Every single legal document I've ever written, I know it word for word. I can never forget those words. So, you know, what happened was that when I first started this case back in 2019, I knew that the moment that I filed this on their behalf, that at that moment that the books, the law books and everything else was going to be taken away. I knew, because that's what history tells us. I mean, that's what they did with the Jews. That's what, the Nazis did with the Jews. That's the first thing they do, is they take your books away. So I knew that the books were going to be removed. I knew that they were going to limit our ability to have access to those books. So the very first thing that I did was I hand copied the entire Black's Law Dictionary. Page by page, word by word, I hand copied the whole thing. I had thousands of pages of the Black's Law Dictionary fully done before I filed this, right? Because I knew that book was going to be removed. I also completely copied the entire criminal procedure manual, because I knew that was going to be taken away. But I knew that that's what I needed to do, because I needed to have the weapons that I needed to be able to work through this case, to be able to continue to push. So that's what God had me do. He had me prepare for it. I never, ever, ever forget anything, right? When I write it, I never forget it. And let me give you an example, okay? When I filed this on April 10th, 2019, when I filed the original writ, and we got 4,000 people to file within the next 7 months after that, all right? As of that moment, Title 18 USC subsection 555 was charging by way of information, okay? And what it said that information can only be used as a charging instrument for other than infamous crimes. That's exactly what Title 18 subsection 555 stated. If you were to go out today to Title 18 USC subsection 555, what you would find is that it applies to, that law now says that it has to do with maritime commerce. It has nothing to do with information, charging by way of information. You guys, they changed the law. They changed it. They changed it to try to create a diversion. They changed it to try to create a delusion, because they found out, oh, this is what they're relying on. Holy shit, it does say that. That's bad for us. So let's change it. And then let's tell the whole country that it doesn't exist. Oh, that's not true. You guys, it's the delusion. I know the delusion because I know the truth. I never, ever, ever forget anything that I fucking write, ever. It's both a blessing and a curse, okay? So I know that Title 18 subsection USC subsection 555 is charging by way of information. In 2019, I know it. I would have never written it down improperly, and I would have never submitted it improperly. But today, you can't find charging by way of information in the law. You can't find it, right? Because they removed it. Now, once again, another one of my master's degrees is in information security. I have 3 master's degrees. One of them is in information security. And the reason why God had me go and get that is because I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about them hiding stuff. I'm concerned about making sure that I remember the truth. And the truth is that USC subsection 555 is charging by way of information. When they changed it, that's irrelevant. They can make a document. They can tell the whole country that it doesn't exist. But you know what? There's going to be thousands, if not millions, of legal documents that are out there, Black Law dictionaries from 2006 that are all over the place, that I'll be able to open up and I'll be able to say, why was it this way in 2019, but it's not that way today? You see, what they're doing is not going to be valid. They can change the truth today. They can make some modifications today and paint the picture and say, oh, look, it's not true, to lead all of you astray. But at the end of the day, you know what? There's more than enough evidence that exists that's going to be able to show Title 18 555 was this. Why was it changed, you guys? Why was it changed? Other than that you guys wanted to change history because you guys don't want to have to admit your error and your mistake, and that's what they're doing. The 14th Amendment was absolutely ratified, guys. It's absolutely a valid article of our Constitution. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it whatsoever. Okay, and the thing is that it's a good article. It is. The things that it has, the protections that it has within it. I would say that the due process clause is not good because most people don't understand what the duly prescribed process is, and traditionally that's what the court has relied upon to determine incorporation. But there's other provisions in it, such as the Privileges and Immunities Clause, that is very effective, because the Privileges and Immunities Clause says that no state shall create any law that shall abridge the privileges and immunities of United States citizens. So if it's a child custody case, right, where they took a child from you and your family, right, that is a privilege and immunity that is guaranteed to you, protected under the First Amendment, incorporated by the Supreme Court in 1984 under Roberts versus United States. Therefore, no state can take away that, because that would be a law that abridges the privileges and immunities of United States citizens, right? Now, likewise, if you were arrested and held over without an indictment by a grand jury, or you were denied your right to be present in the grand jury to confront the accusation against you, that would be a law that a state created that abridges the privileges and immunities of United States citizens. So that's a very, very good provision that's going to be very, very helpful in what we're doing, and they know it. They know it. So what are they doing now? They're trying to tell all of you guys, 14th Amendment was never ratified. It was never ratified. Guys, that was never even anything that was talked about until just 2 years ago. And so why are they doing it? They're doing it to create a diversion. They're doing it to rewrite history so that they don't have to say that this is true. But you know what? It's going to work against them, because even if they continue to push the 14th Amendment and the 14th Amendment's validity, then what that's going to do is if they continue to push that the 14th Amendment isn't valid, then all these cases that have been relying upon the 14th Amendment ever since 1865 or 1868 when it was ratified, right? They're all valid. Because if the 14th Amendment isn't valid, then guess what? All of these cases ever since 1868 aren't valid either, because they're all relying upon the 14th Amendment to make that determination. So, this is going to backfire on them anyway, right? It's going to backfire on them anyway, and they're going to lose either way, because either one, if you're going to tell us that it's not valid today, then what about all these cases that relied upon it ever since 1868, right? Court, when you use 14th Amendment to make your determination, or your lack of determination, such as Hurtado versus California, where the Wake court said that you don't have to have an indictment by a grand jury, he relied upon the 14th Amendment to make that decision. He relied on Clause 1 of Article 14, where it says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States shall be a citizen of the United States and of a state in which they reside. He took that as a dual sovereignty. You're both a United States citizen and a state citizen. Therefore, when you're in a state citizen adjudication, you only get what the state will give you. When you're in a federal, you get what the federal gives you. And as a result, he created dual sovereignty where there's a difference between the two. State adjudications only give you what the state gives you. Federal adjudication, that's where you get your federal constitutional rights, but you don't get them in both of them, because they're both two separate things. So Chief Justice Waite relied upon the 14th Amendment, Clause 1, Article 14, to make that decision. And guess what? If they're going to continue to push that the 14th Amendment isn't valid because it was never ratified, awesome. We'll go back to that bullshit. We're going to rip that out. Because if it's not applicable today, it's not applicable back then. So either way, we're going to win here, okay? But what I'm telling you guys is that the 14th Amendment, it was ratified. It was valid, okay? And I know diversions better than just about anybody, guys. They taught me how to do this shit. I know how the government works. I know their diversion tactics. I know, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to rewrite history. But you need to take a look at it. You need to consider, the fact that when did they start talking about this issue? 2 years ago. Okay, well, why wasn't this talked about in 1868 when the 14th Amendment was ratified? Why is it just now being talked about now? Why has the court been relying upon it for 160 years as their mechanism to incorporate So why is it now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, 14th Amendment is invalid? 14th Amendment was never ratified. Why are there documents popping up right now saying that, oh yeah, Congress even said it right here. Look, Congress said that it's not valid. Congress never said it wasn't valid. Never said it wasn't valid. Because Congress has been relying upon it for 160 years. So you guys, you got to know your enemy here. You got to know your enemy. I know this enemy better than just about anybody. And I'm telling you guys that listen to what I'm saying, all right? Listen to what I'm saying. I don't forget anything. Never, ever, ever do I forget anything. But that's what they're going to do. And so if you're not trained in the diversion, then you're not going to understand what's going on, right? You're not going to understand, and then you're going to accept what they're saying. You're going to say, "Oh, look it, this isn't valid," and they're leading you in a direction that they want you to go. Don't follow them, right? Don't follow them. That was never, ever, ever something that was discussed. Therefore, it's a diversion. And if it's a diversion, they're creating that diversion to get your attention over here. And it's a looky-loo so that you're not looking over here. We need to keep looking over here. So when they create the diversion, we need to look the other direction and say, oh, we're not going to fucking go the way you guys want us to go because you're going to lead us the direction that you want us to go so that you can win. This is a big case. This is such a big case that government has no idea what to do. I built this in complete silence, right? I built this case and I didn't bring this forward. I've only been out amongst all of these social platforms, the social media platforms, for a couple months now. I mean, it was like February or March when I first started using these, because I had to build this case 9 years. I had to get to a point where they couldn't get out of this. We're going to win. We're absolutely going to win. And that's why I'm back on the road. You guys, I wouldn't be out here doing this shit if I didn't believe that we were going to win. I put my life on hold because I know without a doubt that we're going to win.